We are live with Amy Bell for a MarkeTelling conversation. This is the first time I'm ever doing a MarkeTelling conversation live, Amy, outside of the Flow team. So this is very exciting. And you, like me, value synchronicity and serendipity. And we reconnected recently after for the Flow Content Creation Challenge, actually. And then it just so happened that your magazine was doing the gold issue. Amy studied color with me, and we just had so much fun doing that. And it was so great having you on the Leaders Live Roundtable as well.
Love that.
Did you love it?
Yeah.
Did you like it? It's the new thing that we're doing. And so I just had the idea yesterday because tomorrow you have your editorial meeting for the magazine, which I'm going to be having an article in. And we thought, well, let's get the MarkeTelling thing happening and just talk about the evolution of this collaboration, basically, which is part of what MarkeTelling is about.
Yes.
So your magazine, why don't you just, share a little bit?
Well, a few years ago, you taught me all about color because you were my instructor, my teacher, my mentor, my awesome color sage and muse. Well, how long ago was that? Maybe
I know, I was trying to think. Was that
3 years ago? 4 years ago? I think it
maybe
was
4 years ago?
Yeah. So I met you at the an event, and you said, "Hey, want to pull a card?" And I said, "Sure, let's do it." And then I think it was like the pink angel or
It was Pink Dragon. I remember. I still have that memory of like walking up. I was just like drawn to you. And I was like, this woman's gonna love to play my game. Like no one was really pulling cards at the time at like business events, right? And it was like,
yeah,
so it was
yeah.
Pink Dragon, and it was about play and joy. And I was like, yes, this woman gets joy.
Yeah. So Jennifer Love and I were at that event together, and then we met you, like this really super cool girl who has these like amazing cards, and they're all about color, and I'm all about color. So yeah, and then at that same event, I think Moira had her wall of color set up, or maybe I'm getting my timeline off. But anyway, another event or this event, I saw her wall of these bottles and was just immediately drawn into the happiness and joy and excitement of all the colors. And then did my initiation at I think it was a DNA activation course that you had said you were going to, and Moira was there. And so it was just like an intense initiation into
You
color.
had a profound experience there, I remember.
Oh my God. I was meeting like my goddess self from centuries back, and met Melissy, who's the founder of this whole system. And so I got a really
Shout out
amazing,
Melissa from South Africa. Yes.
yeah. So in exploring color for my own self, like my personal self, it helps you go through challenges, and you can figure out what your soul colors are, and then you can have conversations about that. And through that process, I was like, this has got to be brought into the business sector, because you and I both agree that business is changing. You've got to become more authentic. You've got to be stepping into your power. You've got to really service your clients in a different way now, on a sort of 5D level, or I don't know if maybe you've discovered
Aligned. That was, yeah, like an aligned, we have to be very aligned with who we are, and that color helps us do that. And so and for you and I, and our reconnection was, so we recorded the tail end of our first conversation and reconnecting, because on the Leaders Live our topic was vision.
Yes.
And our vision is so aligned. I pulled up your Colors of Design magazine
Mm-hmm.
for creatives who share a love of color, and who doesn't love color,
That is it.
right? Amy's a graphic designer for 30 years, but so during the crazy lockdown is when you started the magazine, and your wish is for the resource for community who is transitioning. You were transitioning from corporate to making your own business. And there's so many people doing that right now, leaving the corporate world, wanting to do their own thing and, make their gifts or their art become a service that they can offer.
Yes.
And there is a belief or a theme around of the starving artists, as you have written here about the magazine. And you said by artists, you mean anyone who is using their creative talents to earn an income, and replace it with a thriving artist. And that we shouldn't have to sacrifice abundance for our passion. And so that is so much aligned to the vision of what we're all about here at Flow Network, and doing what we love. And we have a series called The Real Wealth Transfer, which I shared with you to just, our visions are so aligned. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
And so I might have interrupted you, but go ahead.
No, it's okay. Because this reminded me of something else when we're working on the next gold edition. So every edition of this magazine focuses on one color as we make our way through the rainbow, which our rainbow is about 19 colors. So I've already done the first 6, and we're working on the 7th edition, which is coming out April, and that is gold. And so the complementary to gold is like a violet. And violet service is one that says you've got to be broke. You've got to give up all of your possessions. You can't make money doing what you love. And a lot of artists, whether you're, video creation or painting or sculpting or any kind of creative profession, you are channeling a spiritual kind of message out, and the medium that you choose to get that message out is whatever your creativity allows you to use, right? So a lot of artists have this block that they really can't use their craft in order to make money. But the other side of violet is it's an abundance color. So in this lifetime, we've chosen to come to the planet in 2022 and be able to make money by providing beauty and joy to our clients. And so we don't have to, give up all our worldly possessions in order to sell our art or, create our magazine or do videos like you do. And I love that. But there is parts of our DNA that still say, oh, this just comes so easily to me. I can just paint and put it out there and, not necessarily charge what I think I should charge or even know what to charge. Yes. So a lot of the conversation we have in the magazine is about, especially in the gold edition, which is step into your power. Like you've got a skill that other people don't have, and people want to surround themselves with beauty in their homes, in their offices, and you can charge for that and make a living at doing what you love.
Absolutely. Love that. Here. And also it's that worth, that inner worth, and, the old world being a power over and the new world being our powers within us. And it's not even just artists. If somebody who isn't a starving whatever in the corporate world and all of a sudden decides like, I'm not really aligned here, I want to go and do what I love.
Yeah.
And, maybe they were a salesperson, for example, and they have no problem making money. But then all of a sudden, when you're selling yourself, all of your insecurities start to come up in terms of your power and your worth. And you can go from being a very successful in the business corporate world to all of a sudden wanting to make the leap into the digital online, doing your own thing. And I don't think I've met anybody who doesn't experience the inner demons or the insecurities. I just shared a video actually yesterday or this morning about letting go. That's our theme for the Leaders Live Roundtable, and all the letting go of the belief systems and stories that I had about why I wasn't worth just being me, and why, you are the gift. You watching this are the gift. I am the gift. We are all gifts, and that's the perspective that we really do need to adopt, that I'm enough just being me and doing what I love. And that is what our culture is so in need of right now, is more of the being and not so much of the doing that we've got caught up in the hustle culture.
Well, yeah. I mean, as much as I'm doing what I love, there is a lot of doing.
There's a lot. That's the thing. It's like, not that we just sit and do nothing all day, but it's that it flows from that, like I put a lot of hours into work and doing what I do, but I'm doing it because it's actually my joy. It's my art. It streams effortlessly through me. And it's amazing what I can get accomplished in a very short period of time when I'm in that flow, right?
Yeah, I love love the state of flow, and I love that you have named this flow, because when I met you, can we talk about the transition? Like you were,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, gold is transformation. So I do want to weave in like all the qualities that gold is
ah,
about, right? Which is transformation.
yeah. So when I met you, you had the 5D network, and it was, all about this transition from 3D world to 5D consciousness. And I resonated with you then, and I thought it was like this amazing idea. And, and then of course, transformation happens. You've done so much since then. You've, moved, and you've gone to Costa Rica, and you've been in Toronto, like downtown, and that's not for you. And then you moved to, your the place you're currently in. And I'm not the same person that you met back then either.
Yeah.
And so I've spent the last couple of years just, I mean, I manifested a job being the director of joy. Like,
I know.
there's a bucket list item I never ever
In
even.
the finance world, in the
Yes,
finance corporate world.
yes. And
It's amazing.
as much as that was an amazing experience leading up to that position, being in that position turned out to be like a wicked spiritual firewalky like initiation, because what I discovered in that moment and in that little pocket of time was that I can't force joy on someone who's not ready to accept joy. And then I was sort of in my own personal search for, what does an empowered, awesome female leader look like? And when
Mhm.
I found this, I've had a few of them over the last few years. And what I discovered in that director of joy position is that I need to be my own director of joy, which is
Mhm.
going to be sort of the overall theme of this gold edition, because I'm looking externally for something that I already have for validation or whatever it was I was looking for from these women. But
Mhm.
as awesome as those women were, none of them presented exactly the qualities that I wanted to put into a business, or that I felt business should be run. So
Mhm.
the magazine is going to be an example for myself of how to incorporate the energy and frequency of color, of sound, of the mind, of unconscious, all that stuff in running a business. So
Mhm.
when this gets big, my HR department will have a wall of color, and this is how we will discuss our differences. And sales teams will be run on what color and sound is all about. And I now know that I have to be the example of what a 5D or what an evolved ascended business looks like.
Yes, I was just having this conversation with one of the Flow team members, actually. Similar to, my previous network was also a fire walk for me, and getting to learn all the ways that I was, looking for validation outside, and all of the dance we go through when we're really saying yes. I just wrote a post about this. When we're saying yes to being visible and putting our authentic selves out into the world, which is what I did when I painted myself gold, was
Do
to
you have
say,
that picture?
I have it on a mug, which is the most silly random thing I know, but I didn't care because I was proud of myself.
That was, you know what? That was such a liberating experience for me. And I didn't even paint myself gold. Like, just watching you do that, and just being brave enough and bold enough to fulfill that experience that you wanted to fulfill. And then have the, I don't want to say balls, because,
Well, lady balls, we can say
to
it.
have the vajay to actually put it out into the world and just own it. Like, oh my God, Sarah, that was like just the most amazing thing to watch.
Well, thank you for that. It was amazing for me. I was terrified to it was like a way outside of my comfort zone, but I like understand the power and the necessity to live outside of our comfort zone in order to stay in flow. And I just did it, didn't think about it too much, just kind of was like, just keep doing the thing. And afterwards I remember, did I really do that? Oh my God,
You did
I
it.
totally
You
did
did
that.
it.
And then I just kept like sharing it and posting it. And I mean, it's me being outrageous, and I have that personality, but and it was liberating. I had this feeling of, if I can do that, then I can do anything. And I was humbled very much in terms of what it really means to be visible and the inner work that is required in order to sustain that power and to sustain that authentic power, the power based on real love, is being able to love all of our ugly bits inside of us and to look like super deep inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is a whole journey that is like, you need balls, since we brought it up, or lady balls, or whatever you want to call it, in order to do that dance. And I was circling back to the conversation we originally had, was like, if you go out and you say something, like, our words are powerful. So I was going out and saying, 5D, it's this new type of consciousness where, we have the power and we are the creators of our reality. And, the flow team member I was talking to about was, he went out 20 years ago and saying, we're going to raise consciousness on the planet. Like, everybody should be on board with that. Like, and then even somebody else who's using the word gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude. Well, what does that word really mean? Do you know that is the highest frequency emotion that we can have as a species? That's the highest level of consciousness, is to be able to stay in gratitude. And so our words are so powerful, and it's like, be careful what you wish for kind of thing, right? Because you will have to do that work to be able to sustain that result, basically. And so I went through a similar fire walk dance as you did, with your director of joy, and it sounds amazing. And
Yeah. It sounds amazing. Painting yourself gold really sounds amazing. And then when you actually do it, it's like, whoa, what's going on there? And I feel that artists in general, we constantly put our hearts out into the world. And when you do that, you're opening yourself up for judgment.
yeah,
And a lot of times the starving artist comes into play because you allow other people's stories about what you are and what you're putting out there and criticizing your work. And, critics, whether they're professional or unsolicited, believe that because you are an artist and you're putting your work out there, that you are okay with just getting criticized,
exactly.
like whether you're an actor or an artist or someone who's putting their work out into the world to be visible, using your voice, using your body, using your hands, whatever it might be. So I think artists are very, very, very strong, brave, awesome humans, because
Yes.
they can put it out there and take a kick in the stomach and come back again and go, I don't care. This is it. This is me,
Yes.
like it or not.
I love that you said that. And this is another part of the synchronicity that I was just like, yes, Amy, you're going to be the first person to be the MarkeTelling live here, like just in flow, because your brand is, I'm going to bring it up, White Lightning Communication. So you got the lightning bolt thing going on. And we have this art of flow, 5 levels, and we did a 5-level assessment to where's your flow today? And the far end of it is a lightning bolt catcher.
Nice.
And it's to speak to this, what you're talking about is you have to be able to catch lightning, in terms of catch the lightning of the judgments, catch the lightning of the projections, and
love
just say,
it, love it.
That's not me. And how many people, including myself, have held myself back, put myself into a cage, hid, because I took those projections on and I thought, I am a bad person. Why am I doing this? Who cares about what I have to say? And it's like, I think it's us being lightning bolt catchers, but it's also like for just people to, like, we're human. We have, we have feelings. There's one woman I was watching, she was putting herself out there in her artist kind of way and sharing feedback that somebody said her, oh, I don't want to be a part of your program. I want my money back. Your voice is annoying.
Oh,
like, who does that?
Who does that? Honest to God. Well, yes, we're opening ourselves up, especially if you're going to now start doing workshops, or, I'm doing a meeting tomorrow for people who are interested in doing retreats. And so now I'm opening up again in a different creative way, but bring in your ideas for what you want to see in a retreat, what you want to do in a retreat. Let's collaborate about the things we can offer in retreats. And then we're opening ourselves up again to criticism about, whether it was a great retreat or a shitty retreat or whatever it might be, still wanting to put myself out there, and I don't care. I don't care. I have, as much as when I do receive a bad comment or something that's not so nice, it does hurt me. Like I do have my little moments here where I'm like, oh, I thought I nailed that, and
Yeah.
I don't like it, and now what? Like I got nothing. I got nothing. I gave you everything I had in the first go. And when you're working in a corporate world, you're now, because I can see on here, Marianne, there she is, Marianne, who's also a graphic designer, and
Hi,
she.
Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. So we have to please the marketing department. We have to please the sales department. We have to please the CEO. We have to please everybody before we can send something out into the world that's going to represent their company. And so again, we're opening ourselves up to being criticized. And, what the hell were you thinking? And they can be mean, like,
I know.
but we're up again, and we just keep plugging away, and we keep putting it out there, because essentially I think all artists they're a bunch of pleasers.
They are a bunch of people. Yeah, we fall into the people pleaser. And yeah, if you don't get the initiation, you'll get it again and again and again,
Yeah.
until you get to the point where you're like, F people pleasing. Like,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's still a part of me that likes, because, people are paying me to do their design work. And
Yes.
so I do have a guarantee. Like when you work with me, I guarantee that you're going to like it or your money back.
Yes.
Because I have no interest in having clients out there that are not happy with what I've created, or I'll say, I just don't, I'm not the right person for you. So
Right.
I think at some point when you're doing design or you're doing something for a commercial use, you actually have to know when to walk away. Like quoting Kenny Rogers, know when to hold them, know when to run.
Exactly. Well, and that's the balance. I'm thinking of balance more than a few times in this conversation, because it's our theme for Sunday's Leaders Live is balance. So it's like, yeah, not to totally get rid of the people pleasing. Obviously, in a relationship, we need to have this communication and, make sure there's a win-win. And I believe there's always a
Yeah,
win-win.
win-win is the key.
The win-win is the key. And that the balance of like listening to the market needs and also listening to what your heart's telling you. And I think we're all, a lot of us in a way, a lot of us creatives are navigating that balance right now.
Yeah.
And it speaks to, we've been talking a lot over here at Flow Network, is the rise of the creatives, is the similar to you saying you need to be your own director of joy. For me, the new world is we're all leaders, or we're all directors of joy. Like no one's going to save us. Like we have to be that person for our own lives. And the rise of creatives for me is because we're the ones who've like constantly been just doing the transformation, and we can have transformations constantly, like not just in a year, but like in a week, or sometimes I'm having them in a day.
Yes.
In a day transformations, right? And being knocked down and then standing up again, and being knocked down and standing, like that is what really gives us the resilience. And the true leaders are rising now in these times, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And I'm so honored to support you and the work that you're doing for your community. I know you've done a lot and have really inspired a lot of people. So I'm excited to see where this journey takes us, and to keep having these conversations. Like I say, documenting evolution. We're just documenting the evolution of our reconnection. And it's also something that I like to think about too. Like you said, we haven't really spoken or much in a couple of years, like since the lockdown and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And to say, like, you're a totally different person. I'm a totally different person. We get to know each other again.
Yeah.
Like to have a completely like empty canvas to say, who are you now?
Yeah.
Or, like, who are you becoming?
Yeah, I really, really love that we reconnected, especially now that I'm working on the gold edition. As everybody is reading the orange edition, the team, the collaborators, the columnists, the design, like myself and Judy, who's my designer, and and everybody that's a part of this project is now sort of turned focus to the gold. And what I love is that the magazine is not it's not like Vogue or Maclean's or Time. It's a healing modality in itself, because every time we're working or reading an issue, we're going through the healing process of that color. So the fact that we're meeting up again in the gold, which of course we both know is like authentic power, it's all alchemy, it's wisdom, it's, I got my, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of
There's
other
a
stuff.
whole bunch of things. Yes.
But I am so excited to put your photo, that gold photo, like a spread in the magazine, so that it's a show-stopping work of art that is you putting your heart out on your sleeve and just saying, this is who I am. And yeah, we get judged, but I think in this forum 4 years later, it's now art. It's now fully
Yes.
beautiful piece that we can look at and go, that represents my journey over the last 4 years, and the beautiful story that's going to come out of it when you write the story that goes with it is just going to be magnificent. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for all of those beautiful words. And it's the timing. I believe in divine timing of things, and synchronicity and serendipity. And that's a part of my drive in documenting evolution as well. Is we live in crazy time. Like we all know, we live in crazy times, and nothing is predictable. Everything is a mystery. And yet when we surrender to flow or being pulled, there's this like beautiful orchestration of events and connections that start to occur that we couldn't have possibly planned or scheduled or strategized. And this for me is the new way of business, is
yeah. Yes.
Right, is not to like push an agenda and like this straight line. And it's exciting. I'm so excited to see the connections that are going to be made through this. And I also want to weave in what you're saying in terms of like seeing your magazine as all the people that are joining your magazine. It's like it's a community building. It's all of the things that I feel are so important in any relationship, but especially in business going forward, is to have that. And we do the same work here at Flow Network, is being willing to look at our own stuff.
Yeah.
And color does that so beautifully, because it's a common language. It transcends culture, really. It's color and sound are just vibrational frequency that has an impact on us. And when we can triangulate on a color, for example, what does it mean to you? How does it make you feel? It gets us in touch with our emotions, our feelings, and all the important things that are required to build trust and to make deeper connection and have powerful communication. All of these things are so essential at the foundation of any business and any relationship.
It really just makes my heart sing that through this pandemic and all of the crap that has gone on, that this Flow Network has somewhat come out of it. I mean, like, you've really jumped into it in the last couple of years. The magazine has come out of it, and that's just two people sitting right here. I mean, we have people watching right now. So like, I'd be interested to know, like, what has come out of this pandemic for you? What creativity has popped up? Because I was just so overwhelmed at the beginning of this pandemic that it was easy to sit in the fear. It was easy to be paralyzed by fear. And so I had to cut that and go inside and go, what can we do to stop it? And then turn it into something that it's my purpose now. Like, it's giving me a reason to get out of bed. It gives me a reason to look forward 3 months at a time. It's making this pandemic go by so fast because I'm now on deadlines that are 3 months out. And, that it goes by like that. And I'm meeting so many awesome people.
Yes. I put the question up, what creativity has popped. Did I spell that?
Yeah.
Popped out for you. I'm like wanting to be present and typing at the same time.
I know.
But we're engaging this with our community as well, with the Flow Content Creation Challenge that's tied to the Leaders Live Roundtable. Is, let's have a really diverse conversation about what's the transformation been for you in the last couple of years? And then get on video and share your voice, and let's talk about, let's reflect on, how has your vision changed? How has your values changed? What are you grateful for through it? Because we could so easily get sucked back into the fear and the old world. And I was there as well through the pandemic. Actually, Tim and I, the co-founder, we launched Flow Network the day before the pandemic was declared. And we saw it all coming. Like we were doing workshops at WeWork, and we knew something was up with the economy. Like, we didn't know it was going to be a pandemic, but like we knew some big shakeup was like just about to happen. So our copy on the website was like on point. It would, and I froze. I went like, it's now. Oh, we're really doing this. Well, I said I was going to be a leader through this thing. Oh no. And I just froze, and I was like, no, I need more time in my cave. And I did retreat, and I had to go deeper. I was in solitude for 9 months before the pandemic happened.
Wow.
So I went out to, my first event was a CEO global summit or something event. Justin Trudeau was at it, and I filmed it. It was like my first thing out with Flow Network, and then the pandemic happened, like literally a couple days after that. And so I was like, well, I guess I need to go back in my cave again. And so I experienced the fear as well, and it's so easy to get pulled back into the fear. And creativity and having, like you said, a project or some sort of like short timelines is what helps pull us out of the darkness.
Yeah. 100%. And this last edition was the orange edition. So when you're sitting in the shock of what has happened over the last few years or couple years, the creativity is also in shock. So it's very difficult for people who are creative to be creative when we're in a shock and trauma kind of situation, right? So I actually had like 4 or 5 people that were writing for the magazine. 2 of them were like, I'm sorry, I have to pull out. I can't do this. And they were 2 people that I thought orange is their jam. Like, they are totally going to be down with this one. And they wound up writing, but the story was completely different. And so I had to learn to surrender and allow people to experience the color from their perspective. Number one, not my agenda, which I had an agenda for them, which kind of even squished their creativity even more. And so, we have to realize it was a shock. It was traumatic for our systems, for our hearts, for our spirituality, everything, going through all of this stuff. So the orange edition sort of coming out of the really tumultuous part of the pandemic, but still there was an air when this came out, which was January 1st, that things were being locked down again. Kids are being held from going to school again. Like, it was just the perfect edition. And I am shocked and awed every single time an edition comes out at how timely the information is at the time it's launched and the lead up time to it. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
This is the whole color conversation, right? Like, every color has a positive and negative side to it, and every color has a healing portion to it. So when you look at the world through the lens of whatever color we're working on in the magazine, the story just blooms up, and you can go, oh, well, of course, that's how it's supposed to be. Of course, the orange was supposed to come out this way, and now leading into gold, I'm excited because I want, as much as there are healing factors to gold, the positive side of it is really exciting to me. So I'm just going in with like, surrender is my word for heading into gold.
That's perfect. I love everything you said about orange. I mean, I've kind of thought about that with the trauma and how that would stunt our creativity in some sense. And at the same, like, once you heal through it and once you work through it, that's where the best art comes from. So I love that. And it's the surrender is really, I think all of us are learning that lesson of, we can't control things. We can't have an agenda. We can't, like, it's coming from if it's coming from a place of push or an agenda or like my ego knows best, then we're missing the point of life here. And it can be scary to let go of control and go into the dark, like into the unknown world. And yet that's what this life is about. And so we're all kind of learning that dance and trusting. And I think the more people like yourself that come up and say, look, I did it, I surrendered, and I'm being amazed at the synchronicity that is happening,
Every turn.
how everything is like falls into place. And that's where the doing becomes more effortless, where you can, it's like established in your being, then do the doing and let it all just beautifully unfold, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. The cool part, the part that I really like about the magazine is that the back part of it is the featured artist gallery. So I invite artists to submit work in the color of the magazine that we're working on. So we're working on gold, and submissions are open right now to put in your work. But I want to see the work, but I want to also see what was the feeling and the journaling around creating that piece. So essentially and when you submit your work, I give you a spot to upload the image, and then also a spot to upload the story that goes with the image, because I want to invite people's gold stories that are outside of what I know about gold, what you know about gold from our training. And I just want to have people really tune in to the emotion, to what their friends are saying about the piece, what they're feeling about the piece, what's coming up for them when they're working with this gold color, and just adding to the library of the gold conversation.
I love that.
And every single time we have the most amazing people submit their work. And we've had quite a few people that have been submitting for each edition, and they are now sort of allowing the magazine to flow their work, which is kind of cool, because now they're like, what's the next color? And I want to put something into the next color. And I have a vision that it's worldwide, and we do have people from like Europe and North America and South America. They're putting in their work.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I really want, if you're an artist watching this right now, I welcome you and invite you to submit and just tell us your story about any of the editions, any of the colors.
That's amazing. I love that. And I think that part of the leadership in this time is inclusivity and, offering spaces where we can be transparent and share our stories. And here at Flow Network, we say when we share our story and our vision, we can literally transform communities and cultures. And I think there's so many people right now looking for other ways of living, of being, of doing work. And it's just so inspiring to see a story with your magazine forming and coming together. And it's a beautiful thing. We have, hi, Sharon, said, what a great opportunity for artists. It's so very generous. I love to hear the editions are flowing people's work. That's so cool. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it started out that we were taking submissions, and there's a bit of controversy around the featured artist section, which I didn't really see coming. But a lot of artists have been taken advantage of by nonprofits who want them to donate work for raising funds. Artists are often asked to do free work a lot. And so this section of the magazine is I'm hoping it's inviting people to come in and tell their color story through their artwork. It's not that I'm using their artwork to decorate my magazine. It is to broaden the conversation of how color impacts our designs, art forms, mood, and journey on this planet. And then from that perspective, I'm hoping that artists kind of enter in with a little less broken hearts about being used and abused by people for centuries, right? Like half the artists that we know of today were long dead before their work even became a household name. So
yes,
I'm holding the space for artists to feel like this is an uplifting experience and not a taking experience on the magazine's part.
Yes.
So that's the heart space I'm going in with. And if some people have not seen it that way, but the people that have seen it that way have contributed and have loved it and had a great experience from it. And it's a pretty sweet portfolio piece for people. So
Yeah.
I think it's doing its job.
Yeah, I think there's definitely we're going to experience a new cultural narrative, and it's a result of our healing of our stories of, abuse or whatever situations we're experiencing, and understanding the power of our intention. And the intention that you're putting in right into your magazine is foundational to who you'll attract to it,
Yeah,
and who will
yeah,
see the
exactly.
value, and who can be a part of changing the story. And change takes its time, and we have to have a bit of patience with things.
Well, that's a good point, because I was entering into this to change the mindset of artists from starving artists to thriving artists, but my words still said starving in that statement, right? So now I've changed it, and it's evolved in the last year and a half to supporting creative professionals to become successful entrepreneurs. Just I don't even want the word starving to be in our vocabulary anymore, because it's just
Good.
not,
Yes.
it's not serving anybody any good. So
Excellent. I
yeah,
love that you said that, because that is that is a part of our power, and owning the power of our words and what we put out there into the world. What are we how are we marketing the world? This is the essence of the deeper work that I do with my clients with MarkeTelling is, what are the stories you're telling and feeding the market? And then what is the market telling you back? Oh, they're telling you they feel abused. Okay, well, how am I contributing to that, right?
yes, yes,
And then you changed it, so it's a perfect example.
yeah,
And then the market telling is to use your video or use the feedback from the market to say, oh, what are the stories I'm telling myself?
yeah,
Oh, I'm still
yes,
telling myself that I have, I'm not enough, or this isn't worthy, or what are the lack beliefs that were so programmed and ingrained in us from our past. And it's interesting because part of Flow Network, we work with different generations, and it's so interesting to see the younger generations, like the 17-year-olds and the 20 whatever year olds, having had more exposure to where their power lies, in their words, in their intention, in their energy. And they don't have as thick neural pathways as the older generation have, right, in terms of what has been ingrained in them and what their lived experience has been. And so, yeah, I love that you shared that example of, your marketing had starving in there, who that attracted to you, and then now you've changed it. Like I don't know if you did it before the gold, but that gold is that transformation, and constantly listening, learning from feedback, going inside. Okay, what are the stories I need to change in
yeah.
order to actually make the impact that I want to make as a
Well,
leader and artist?
yeah, because the audience I was attracting when I was using the word starving were those who were feeling that I was abusing their artwork by asking them to put it in the magazine. So I changed the story to this new one, and now people are engaged and looking forward to the next edition. So you can see the power of your words right there in front of your face.
Yeah.
And I love that, because I really do try and listen and cultivate a conversation that is a back and forth, and not just me telling you what you need, because obviously I don't have all the answers, and I don't claim to. Well, so, sometimes I do.
Hey, we all have our sweet
I think
spots.
I'm all that,
We
just
all have our sweet spots, yeah.
if everybody was as smart as me, we'd have such a fabulous place. But no, um, I think yes, and with your comments about the age and sort of these indigo children coming onto the planet, we sometimes I think we need to step it back, because you, myself, Tim, Marianne, Sharon, everybody who's on here that's over 40 or close to 40, we have paved the way and built this platform so that these indigo, brilliant, awesome, technologically advanced children could come in. They could
Yes.
not come in 40 years ago and do
Yeah.
what we're doing. They needed to come in now. And so they're going to be the ones who take us to the next level of ascension. And it'll be so much faster for them because we have created the sort of foundation for them to be able to fly. And I love that because I was on that, the leadership.
Oh, yes, you were. The Leaders Live Roundtable. Yeah, with
And
Sunny and
those
Jake.
two boys, those two awesome boys that were in there who were like saying the meditation. And like, I couldn't imagine myself at 18 going, and okay, we are going to do meditation now. No, let alone one of the boys in my, my high school. No way would they have ever been conscious enough to even think that way.
Yeah,
So
they really,
like, I was in awe of those two, just the way they're running their company, the way they're presenting themselves to the world, the way they're, getting in touch with who they are and embracing it and not being afraid to not be masculine or not be, something that they're afraid to be. And so if you're watching, boys, what was their names again?
Sunny and Jake.
Sunny and Jake. Oh my God. Like,
from the New Earth Project.
Yeah.
They are. They're so, and last night I was so impressed again. Jake, for the first time, he did the live broadcast. He had never done it on his own before. And he had never, ever conducted a meditation. And he was, you could see he was like, okay, no, Rome is on it. I'm going to let you do it, Rome. And he goes, no, I'm going to do it. I can do this. Yeah. And, he wasn't afraid to just, you make mistakes. And oh my God, I'm just thinking of this right now. Usually in their meditation, they use the color white. And he was saying, okay, imagine a gold ball. And Amy's, oh no, sorry, I mean white. And he did it like 2 times. He said gold. And then he said, no, sorry, I mean white. And I was like, no,
we're projecting our gold.
Like, gold is the conversation. That's so awesome.
Yeah, they were an eye opener for me in that moment, just listening to them. And, I didn't really speak to them very much. It was just like this little brief, like, wake up call that, yeah, this is who's coming. This is the next force of nature that's coming. And I'm so, so excited. So if you boys need any help with your mission that you're doing, United Colors of Design is a friend of yours.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, they're a growing partner here with Flow Network. So we're on their show on Wednesdays. Most of the Wednesdays we make at 8:00, and it is so inspiring. They came into our life at a time where Tim and Sharon were, they've been on this path for a long time, 25 plus years raising consciousness on the planet, way ahead of their time. And it was just such a refresh to see, oh my gosh, like this, we're okay. Like this younger generation, like they get it. And they're just so inspiring. It's amazing.
Well, I'm a relatively new person on the block in this kind of conversation. So thank you to Tim and Sharon for paving it so that I could show up in this way. And then, thanks to this whole generation for being able to lead these next guys into what they need to do to raise our consciousness. So yeah. And Rome too was on that call.
Yeah.
He's got the bunnies in Indiana or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, Rome.
And Rome's just started a podcast. He'll probably hook you or contact you to do one of his podcasts. He's just starting that in partnership with New Earth and Flow as well. So I was just on that earlier this week.
So exciting.
There's some really, really profound synchronicities happening over here. And I can see them happening over there. Like, we're lighting it up, girlfriend.
We are lighting it up.
We're lighting it up.
Lightning bolting it up.
Exactly. Lightning bolt catchers. And that's the power too, like going back to weaving in this intergenerational conversation is like, we need all the whole generation. We need all of our perspective. And it's so great to see the younger generation, get that and want to work with the older generation. And it's just amazing.
I can definitely see how flow and what Rome's got going on and what the boys have going on. And, we just need to bring it together. Like you're doing your network and I've got the magazine side and we've got other people who have all of these amazing talents. And if we can harness this energy into whatever it looks like moving forward, I think we're all basically speaking the language. It's just how we're putting it out into the world is, our genius, how we want to do it, right?
That's right. We like to say at Flow Network, you be you. That's all you got to do. You just be you. You do your thing, and then you surrender to flow, and you watch the serendipity and the synchronicities happen. And that is the beautiful thing of aligning yourself with, first of all, with yourself, because all relationships start and end with yourself. Mm-hmm. And then aligning and asking, okay, what's your vision? What are your values? What?
Yes, I'm having a thing. Like, I think maybe Flow Network needs to have a magazine that can, allow people to put their voice in printed word, because sometimes they don't like video.
This is true. Not everybody is made for video. It's not everyone's jam. I like that. I like that idea very much.
Okay, let's see what
let's let those seeds kind of percolate there. But yeah, this was my background being in television broadcasting, and I worked at a startup tech company. Funny enough, that was bridging the old world of broadcast to the new world, from tape physical assets to digital assets. And I was the trainer, and it was a global company and traveled all over. And I've been to many networks globally, a lot in the United States. And I ended up leaving the industry because it just didn't align with my values. And, a few years later was like, why don't I just make my own TV show? And that's where the mug came from, because I had my mindful minutes at 4:44. But then I went the next step further and was like, well, why don't I just make my own network? And so, that's a little bit of an initiation to do that kind of thing, similar to your, what you're experiencing as well.
Yeah, well, the same thing happened to me. I was in publishing, in legal publishing of all things, and, left that and thought, why don't I just start my own publishing empire? Like, why am I going to join someone else's empire? And, I did think, maybe I'll just kind of flow into that sort of TV thing. But, this is what you do best, and this is what I do best. So why bother going and trying to create another headache of learning for myself?
Yes, this is the point. This is totally it. It's like, everybody find your node on the network, find your sweet spot, and let's support each other. Like, we don't want, I certainly don't want to be wearing all the hats. Like, I tried that in my previous experience, and, we just crash. We'll get tired, run down, and then it affects our health and all kinds of things. So this is totally the new way. And I'm just thinking of Rome too, because in our conversation that we had on his podcast, his background was, he was a DJ on the radio, and, now he's doing the podcast. So it's like our life experience, like what we had been through in our past, has all been designed to, put us into the exact sweet spot that, call it being of service, call it your art, that you get to experience, that is your joy, that fulfills you and gives you that sense of meaning and purpose, like you said, to get out of bed and be excited in your day. What is this life about? So I just love that you said that, and you recognize and shared the story that publishing was in your background. I love hearing people's past stories.
Yeah, well, and as much as, legal publishing sounds a little dry, I did work for a family-owned business that allowed us to sort of get out of what the legal industry would allow for marketing and for event creation and that kind of stuff. So I did get to push the envelope a little bit in there, and so that was fun. But then it was time to kind of move out of that pigeonhole and get into something else. And I think the magazine is a culmination of all the experience I've had up until the point that it started, and it's inviting in yourself. And I mean, like, I just met your whole network here, so this is really cool. Like, the people that you're closest to, right? And there's so many synchronicities and so many ways that we can collaborate and work together without feeling like, oh, she's going to steal my people, or, getting that kind of nasty feeling in there. Like, I'm so past that about competition and stuff. I mean, Marianne was listening, and she's a graphic artist, and like, let's just bring it in, because my graphic arts is different than yours and my style is different than yours. So somebody I know may really love your style, and I can point them in that direction. And I'm just not even worrying about a lack any longer.
Right. And that's the new world energy, is
Oh,
there's
she's
no
so
competition. It's just collaboration. It's cooperation. The competition is the old world. And I love that you brought that up. And Sharon, I saw this past comment you made about, do you know who Taryn White is in Paris? She has an art gallery.
No, I don't. And I did see that. I don't know who that is. But
Because
yeah.
so her initial like agenda, I don't think she'll mind me sharing this, because we went in and love her business. She's so forward thinking, and was creating a gallery for her stuff. And she just was like, no, the community, what I want to do with the community is put all of the community's work up. I want to feature all the artists in the area and support their work. So she's also so aligned in this new thought of like, no one is like you, that you don't have competition. There is no one like you in the world. You have a super special, unique, sweet spot gift that is so needed on the planet right now.
Yeah.
And once you clear any lack belief, like you're on fire. You're claiming your power. That's gold conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Marianne says, yeah, and welcome to Flow Network, Marianne. Yes, we all work together cohesively. Yeah,
it's just exhausting. It's in being in the corporate world. I mean, I was the manager of the art department in that space, and luckily I think I helped foster a sort of environment that did not surround itself with competition. Like, we would all meet together, we would all go through something, we would say, oh, I'd really like to do that project, or I think I would be a great fit, or you would be a great fit. And we had 3 or 4 designers in the department, so it could have easily gotten to like, well, Amy likes him better, or he's getting all the good jobs and I'm getting all the crappy jobs. But I've always been, since I was little, like, let's bring everybody together. And to the point where I had both sides of my families come together for Christmas, because I'm like, why do we have to go to mom's side on this day and dad's side on that day? And I'm like, at 8 years old, I'm like, can't we all just come together and just be happy together? So, I mean, that personality side of me just has always been. And so I'm all about bringing in and collaboratively working with whoever is on board and aligned with what you're doing at the moment.
I love that. I'm the same. And, that could be, for me, there was definitely some people pleaser quality of me that, wanted everyone to be happy all the time and like bring everybody together. And, I still have, obviously, at sitting at the hub of a network, it's like, let's all just get together and, bring ourselves together. And doing that, okay, who am I really? Like the last couple of years have been, who am I not? And who do I really, really want to share my space with?
Yeah.
What are my values? And Tim and Sharon have been so huge and key in my life and helping me through that process, which is sometimes feels like up is down and down is up as you're kind of figuring that out for yourself. But once you really get a handle on that, it's, again, serendipity and just watching the connections happen. I had this idea, Amy, for the MarkeTelling Journey as we continue this with you in the magazine. It's just an idea, but I know that part of the work you do with your White Lightning Communications, let me flash it up here is that you work with brands to really get to the soul of their messaging through numbers and colors, which I do as well, but I don't officially do it. I kind of just do it in the background, but that's something that you do. And I know you and Moira also have had a show where you were doing that with big brands. Yep. And talking about it. So just an idea to float out that if it would be interesting to you to do that for Flow Network and
yes. Oh, yeah, 100%. I
and
can do it.
and maybe Studio Rome's thing, and if
Yeah,
you're on your
let's do
podcast,
it.
like let's play with numbers and colors, because I think more I'm at least seeing in the culture more and more people like paying attention to signs and synchronicities and we started this at 333 on January 27th, 27 being my life path number. But I know when I started understanding what my life path number was, how much information it gave me about who I am. And it sort of it validated like, oh, this is why I'm this way. And oh, this is who I am. Like it was really powerful for me to learn more about myself in that way. And same with your business brand. Like, what is the message of your brand? What
Well,
is your brand number? What does that mean?
yes.
So
You know what? I just had a conversation with Moira this morning. Moira is the Canadian representative of the color mirror system. She works very closely with Melissa. And so Moira and Melissa have so much information locked up in their noggins from doing this kind of stuff for so long. I had a conversation with Moira, and she helped me go through the different bottles and how they speak in sort of a more business language to really help convert the message, like keep the integrity of the messages in the bottles that we have, but how do they apply to businesses? Yes. And so Moira and I are working on a publication. It's taking its time. We've got our stuff to do, but it's going to bring in more of a business language. And when I'm teaching graphic designers how to incorporate this analysis, like taking your name, your business name, and your launch date, and then who's the CEO of this or who's the founders, and putting all of that information, color, numerology, and planets into a conversation. Like my mind was blown this morning because I thought I knew a lot. And then I talked to her some more and I'm like, I don't know anything. Like I just need to keep listening, So yes, moving from today forward, I'm even armed with more information that can serve all of, Rome and yourself and the podcast and everything that's going on. So to have a podcast to chat with maybe Rome about the name of his podcast and what that means and what the mission is, what the outward masculine energy is, what that inward vowel energy is, what the overall energy is. It's like, it'll blow your mind. Like
it's so powerful because it's like this is the journey too of like putting yourself out into the market is like, how do you say patient position or the language you use and how do people perceive you? So the numbers break down, your internal process and what does it mean for you in your own world? And then how do others perceive you? And having that information is profound. I agree. And the synchronicities, like it is, Marianne says, let's play. And that's what I would really drew me to with the colors and the numbers. And for anybody who doesn't understand what the system is, basically all the bottles are tied to numerology as well as color, as well as astrology. So many patterns are working together, which is like a huge amount of information in a very short, tight, beautiful, fun, playful package.
Yeah.
And, that it just brings me so much joy to use the color. And I'm excited that you and Moira are working on bringing more of a business language, because that's been a goal of mine, is wanting to bridge the business world and the spiritual world together, and understanding that there has been judgments in both camps, right? Like, the word spiritual can even just, shun somebody, like just, we were having a conversation this morning about that. Like, let's use the word human potential, or, like what language, because we want to meet people where they are. And at the same time, to give them like the most value we can in a short period of time. So I love that you're working on that. I'd love to be a part of that in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is the language that I've had to kind of think about, because when you're talking about the business community, they call, the violet. So we'll call the business community the red, and we'll call the spiritual community, the alternative healers, those people, the violet people, right? So when you've got a red community who's so entrenched in, feeling safe on this planet, and you got to have money and you got to have relationships and like all of that red stuff that's sort of related to your root chakra. And then you've got this community over here who's like this violet up in the clouds, not really feet on the ground kind of people. They look at them and they're like, you're so woo woo, like you can't help me run my business. Like, so when I was coming up with the product to present to the business community, I'm using language, and it's called the branding with soul. And I'm calling it an analysis or a report, not a reading, because they'll just look at me like I'm nuts if I say, let's do a soul reading for your business. Like, that's not going to work. So this is what the program is what I'm teaching designers to use, the soul color, the branding with soul analysis that they can do on their clients. And then you get to say, let's put some soul into your business. Let's add your soul colors in your business. Or, let's go into the interior design industry and say, you can put some soul colors, like design for your clients, my bedroom in my soul colors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, come on. Adding the color just to anything just makes you, one, stand out from everybody else on the planet, and two, you get to play. And I love that they use the word play, Marianne, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're playing with color. And when you're playing with something, you take out all judgment, because you get to be free and you get to play and you get to explore and you get to have fun. And then maybe, I can ninja in some of the energetic capacity that the color has, and allow a business person to buy into what we're talking about. So yes, bridging it. You buy,
Bridging.
And because we're in 2022, the bridge colors are in there. So as far as Moira's predictions go, everyone is on a bridge this year. And what's your bridge? Mine, I'm on a bridge to truth. It's apparently the most difficult little journey, because being truthful to yourself and to others isn't always the easiest thing to do. So, we have color to help me navigate what that looks like for this year.
Mm-hmm. And I love that. And I love that you mentioned like the energy of play, because when we can be in that space, it's so much easier and quicker to heal or to understand what is preventing us from navigating ourselves towards our truth, towards our deepest truth. Yeah. So that is so powerful. And Rome is saying, Amy, he's on board with that. So my idea is maybe our next MarkeTelling call, it's me, you, and Rome, and I facilitate that conversation.
I love it.
Or maybe before Rome, we do Flow Network. I'm not sure, but this will give people an example of the power behind it. Look at this. We're heating things up.
I'm so hot right now. Like, I think I'm having a hot flash, but it's also the conversation, because I just get so excited about having this conversation with people who actually want to hear about this conversation, like color and energy and frequency, and how we can be bridges to get it into a wider audience. Because, if we all embrace the fun and playfulness of color in our daily lives, there's no need to fight anymore, because you can go pick a color and then your conversation is done, and you get to see the mirror that's held up to you with the color pink, and maybe you're just a little bit too sassy today and you need to take a step back, or whatever the message is in the color. I don't have to tell you, Sarah, that you're being a bit of a insert word here. Yeah, okay, bitch. I don't have to say you're being a bitch. I can say, hey, Sarah, what's going on? Like, why don't you pick a color? And the color will tell her she's being a bitch, and I don't have to say a word.
Exactly. Right? That's the power of good. Yeah.
That's the power of color. And that is how we can use it in a conversation within the workplace. So if your HR people have this and there's a conflict between two employees, you say, both of you pick a color.
Yeah, actually, isn't there someone in England or Europe who has the color conversations in boardrooms,
yes,
color in boardrooms or something? She's been using it in the business world, which is amazing, because it's and we're working on a project right now in terms of working with in big businesses. There is a lot of disconnect from like the CEO and the frontline workers, and how do we facilitate these cohesive conversations that allow people to feel safe to say, this is what I'm feeling right now. This is why I'm being a bitch, because I have this, like,
yeah. And
so
then that brings an understanding to the rest of the group. Like, oh, this is what Sarah's going through. So now we can have some compassion based on that conversation, right? We don't always assume that it's our thing. It's not always about us. Sometimes Sarah's just working through, she's showing up as a bitchy god in a body today.
And there's no judgment there, because she's doing judgment. Exactly.
So, yeah. And the principles that are within this system, like what we learned when you taught me the whole course about the no judging and everything is perfect. I mean, we all adopted everything is perfect as our mantra, probably from the day we all took this course, because you just have to look at it as perfection. Otherwise, we'll all just go crazy and jump off bridges and not be the bridge. We'll jump off.
We'll jump off. That's what I used to say. I was trying to build a bridge, and there was a time when I thought I'd just jump off of it. But yeah, that's the playfulness and the joy is what we need to bring to this world and bring to our culture to get us through this very serious transformation that we are all collectively experiencing. That at 4:44 p.m.
Right.
We'll wrap this up soon. And thank you.
God, it is. We started at 3:33.
We're kind of transferring at 4:44. I just wanted to let this kind of flow again. Like, this is the first time we've done a MarkeTelling. MarkeTelling is the go-to-market strategy of documenting evolution that we've been doing with our flow team, and we've been putting the camera on in rooms and literally just talking about our growth. And we very much talk about, like, let's get real and talk about what we're feeling. And we've used colors as well in our team, and numbers, and learning about each other so we can understand, what each other's needs are, basically.
Yeah.
As we're growing at the foundation, and understanding our own structure, like what do I need, what do you need, what do we need to feel supported and in our optimal flow state to be the most creative, brilliant, powerful leaders that we're here to be.
Yeah. Just so exciting. It's so exciting. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this MarkeTelling. And, however we choose to tell our story, whether it's through video, which I owe you a couple for my challenge. Oops.
Okay.
Or through an article, or through a podcast, or through art, or through whatever you choose. I mean, just get the message out and don't be afraid. There's groups here, like all of us who are chatting. We are here to help uplift you.
Yeah, you're not alone. Share your heart with the world. We need all of the love and all of the light that it can get right now. So yeah, that's such a beautiful way to end. Amy, thank you so much. I'm so excited for our next conversation. Well, tomorrow we have the editorial meeting, which won't be live, but
it's not tomorrow. It's next week.
Oh, it's okay. Next week. Good thing. And yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're excited to keep sharing. We're all growing here. Gold transformation. Anything we want to ask, or maybe let's put out a question. Gold. What do you feel? How about when you tune into the frequency and the energy of gold?
Hey, let me see if I've got one here.
I'm actually working with the gold bottle that inspired me to paint myself gold.
Oh, is that G12?
G34.
Oh, G34. Oh, yeah.
That's a good one you got there. Tune into the frequency of gold and just, what do you feel?
See what the frequency of this little G12. I'm going to put it in front of my white shirt here.
Vicky says warmth and the sun. This is so true. Warmth and the sun. It's lovely. Yep, we got it. We can see it.
There we go.
Beautiful. Thank you.
G12. Can I read the G12 message?
Sure, let's do it.
I don't know what it is. I mean, we could just keep talking all day long, but
I know we could.
I'm stuck up like a little bit more time here.
Marianne said, good is my riches, and it's a symbol. It's going to be a great year in business for me. Love that. I agree. I couldn't agree more. Marianne.
Okay, this is the message for those that have turned in and they have somehow been drawn to the frequency of this gold conversation. So the bottle is called I Am. I am all that and a bag of chips. That's what that's all about. So this is I am. When you choose this bottle, you are ready to release all the beliefs that still say I am not. So you've all chosen this time to release it, which is awesome. When you choose this, you are fully prepared to align with your divine self and claim yourself as part of the divine. The creator and I are one. The divine is within, and I am that. Our addictions are the things that keep us small and keep us feeling separate from our divine self. This bottle will support us in letting go of fear and the separating influence of addiction. When we claim back our true authentic power, we can be free of the addictions and be free, fearlessly, powerfully divine.
Beautiful. That sums up the conversation basically. That you're in your power, or you're believing stories that you're lacking or less than. And that is a powerful note to end on. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody, for watching our first ever MarkeTelling story outside the Flow team. And this is the Flow team building. Watch us grow. Join us in our Flow Network community on Facebook. Join our Flow Content Creation Challenge. If you're, want to start getting on video, you can share it in a safe space in our Flow Network community and start getting your practice out there. And if you're behind, like Amy, that's okay. I know we're all busy. So whenever we can talk about, I'll share the 4 weeks real quick. Gratitude, video on gratitude, visions, value, and letting go was last week. And the week on Sunday coming up, we're talking about balance. So whatever you want to talk about, we want to hear from you. You are the gift. And until next time, thank you, Amy.
Thank you, sister.